Guys, what's going on? It's Gunnar here. Welcome back to the channel. Now, as you can see, it's starting to act like winter again here. It's the first week of February and we're getting some bitter cold temps here once again. But I want to take a quick second today and talk about improving the predictability of deer movement and how to take advantage of that. And I've got 3 tips here that work, that I've used, that I continuously use, that produce results and consistently get me in close and opportunities at big bucks. And now the first one is going to be knowing where the deer are coming from and where they're traveling to. Now that might seem elementary for a lot of you guys, but that's the baseline of what we're trying to do here as hunters is boil down where are these deer coming from and where are they traveling to, and intercepting that. Trying to narrow down where we're gonna run into these deer, particularly big bucks is what a lot of us are after. And so figuring that out is going to narrow it down drastically to where these deer are gonna be concentrated and get you closer, get you more opportunities to see and kill those deer. Now, one thing that I like to do is I like to do a lot of scouting. I'm constantly scouting, outside the season, of course, but I'm always trying to learn. I'm always going into those bedding areas during the off season, and I'm trying to figure out, how these deer are leaving and coming into these bedding areas, where they're traveling to, how the wind affects when they're using those bedding areas, what food sources that they're traveling to from those bedding areas by that direction of wind. So all of these things play in together, and it's not one size fits all. It's a combination of things that paint the bigger picture and allow us to be more efficient hunters. And now I talked a little bit about the wind direction and how that affects the bedding areas and how the deer are utilizing them, but that's also going to affect the food sources, and the timing of the year that those food sources are attractive is also going to play a major role in predicting when these deer are going to be coming through said location, giving you that opportunity that you're looking for. Now, these attractive food sources in the bedding areas that these deer are using heavily and frequently and predictably during August and September are going to look drastically different than October and November. A lot is changing. There's a lot of foliage coming off the trees. A lot of food sources are losing their palatability. They're losing their attractiveness. So there's a lot of things going on. So being keen to that and understanding what's going to be attractive during the meat of the season, that October, November time frame, and what time of the year your farm is historically good, you can paint that picture of, okay, I might have this food source on this farm, but it's not normally good this time of the year. It could drastically change based on that food source. So understanding that the attractiveness of the food source during that time of the year is going to increase or decrease the amount of predictability that you're going to see out of your deer herds and be able to take advantage of with a bow. So for example, if the only food source that I have on my farm is a 1 acre, a 2 acre, 3 acre food plot of clover in the end of November, mid-November, that's not going to be a real high attractive food source, because in most areas in the north, that clover is going to be killed off from the frost and the freezing temperatures. It's going to be browned out, and there's not going to be a lot of desire to go feed on that for a deer. They're going to be looking for something maybe a little bit more carbohydrate heavy, like standing beans, standing corn, spill beans, and brassica plants. Something that's got more nutritional value during that time of the year versus something that's on its way out, right? So thinking about that and understanding that all of these different varieties of food sources have their peak attraction time frames. If you can understand that, okay, standing beans that are green yet are going to be attractive real early season and into the beginning of the season, then it's going to be the clover and the oats, then it's going to be the late planted beans, then it's going to be the brassica, then it's going to be the rye, then it's going to be the carbohydrate heavy corn, standing beans, whatever's left during that late season. So understanding that and being able to play your strategic game to those key food sources during that time of the year is going to increase your success dramatically and get you a lot closer consistently. And now the last thing to creating that predictable movement that we're all looking for is manipulating the habitat on our farms, and doing so in a way that sets the farm's ability to hunt up for success, right? You know, it puts us in a position to get in and out safely, get close to deer without being busted by the deer, and attract and hold those deer without alerting them that they are being hunted. So there's more than a few things that you can do to increase the predictability and consistency on your farms, but I'm going to talk about a couple here that really play into my bow season setups and really made a difference in my shot percentage when it comes to, if I have a deer within eyesight, my ability to get a shot at that deer and close the deal. And that's going to be manipulating the habitat, whether that be using hinge cuts to block off trails and necking those movements down into specific locations that set up well for hunting. That's a really big one. I use that on virtually all of my food plots. I try to narrow down the areas that those deer can come into to maybe 2, 3, or 4 trails. That makes the predictability of what trail and where those deer are going to be coming from a lot easier, and I can set myself up for a lot more success when I'm thinking about the strategy of my wind direction, what I can and can't get away with. If I know where these deer are bedding and I know where they're going to have to come out in the food plot, I can really manipulate that wind and get away with things that normally I wouldn't be able to if the deer were just coming willy-nilly here and there wherever. So that makes a big difference. So a hinge cut in a situation like that is extremely beneficial. That's mainly the situation that I'm using those hinge cuts in, but they function and work flawlessly in that setup. And now another thing is going to be mock scrapes or water holes. Now you can strategically set these up according to your stand location within that comfortable shot distance that you have. You can set these things up to enhance and create that more predictable movement. So if I have a fairly big plot that's maybe 3/4 of an acre to an acre, if I have a mock scrape in the corner right in front of my stand with a water hole as well, that's going to increase the likelihood that that buck is going to gravitate my direction, just because he's going to be looking at that mock scrape thinking, okay, it's getting close to the rut, it's that early pre-rut stage, it's a good cold front in October, and I want to check out who's in the area. I want to know who's trying to leave their scent out. I want to know who's going to try to compete with me for breeding rights when the rut does roll around. And at the same time, during most years in the Midwest, the fall time is one of the more dry periods throughout the year. So that water is key during that time of the year. When it gets colder, you need more water. Deer are the same way. So those water holes and those mock scrape combinations really have improved the success and the ability to get shots off at deer that a lot of times, if I didn't have them, it wouldn't happen, right? So I'm actually going to be implementing a completely new water hole and mock scrape right here behind me on this inside corner food plot this year. I had a situation, I've got a mock scrape here, but it's just too far away from the stand location that we hung. But I had a situation, I had a really good buck come in on me here in October, and I just wasn't able to get him within range within that shooting time light. So I think if I can implement a water hole right here at 25 yards from this stand location behind me, I think in a scenario like that again, I get a shot off and I kill that deer. So a lot of things here that I just threw at you, but try to digest this stuff and pick what helps you guys, right? Everybody's got their different flavor. If something applies to you, go for it, use it. If something doesn't, I don't care. Don't use it. Doesn't matter to me. I just want you guys to have better luck during the fall. I found the cheat code, in a sense, of setting up these small properties and figuring out what works that are high pressured by hunters and at the same time don't have an absurd amount of acreage to get away with things that maybe in those states like Missouri, Iowa, Kansas, you can get away with. The deer are different up here in the north, way up north, Wisconsin, Minnesota, Michigan. All these deer are high pressured and they don't tolerate anything. So my goal is to help you guys become better deer hunters in your home state, and I hope this helps.